My name is Makai Boyd. I'm a sophomore business administration major, and today I'll be interviewing Brittany Bumpus, who works for Wells Fargo out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Brittany, could you please explain what your profession is?
So hey, I am a senior lead auditor with Wells Fargo under the Finance and Corporate Activities team. So our main focus is on the accounting and finance related functions that the group controllers perform.
All right, so when and where did you learn to use Excel? Did you take a business class like we're doing right now, or did you learn on your own?
So probably my first experience would be at A&T when I took the business application class. So similar to you all, kind of go through the types of functions of Excel, and then we kind of talked about how we would use it in the future. My second experience with Excel is probably going to be in grad school. So I was a teacher's assistant for one of the managerial accounting classes, and the teacher wanted to incorporate Excel into our accounting. So she set up like a mock business, and then we had the students, they kind of like had to do balance sheets and income statements using Excel. And so on Thursdays when we had our like teacher's assistant like working day, we would have students come in and I could introduce them to Excel, kind of help them develop the balance sheet and income statement using Excel.
All right, so do you have any pros and cons of using Excel? Anything you don't like, or any negatives or positives?
So I guess I would start with cons. Just like with a lot of any technology application, Excel is only limited to like 1 million lines. So if we're looking at journal entry detail for a full year, sometimes we have to separate the detail and want to analyze it. So that would be one con, is the line limitations in Excel. Pros, that you can take a lot of detail and you can kind of summarize it at a high level. So you can, like for instance with the journal entry detail, you can kind of figure out how many entries are performed each month or each quarter, who's performing these entries or reviewing these entries. So it gives you that opportunity to summarize data at a higher level. So you can take a bunch of data and kind of make it smaller.
All right, so are there any key uses that you use for Microsoft Excel in your profession?
So one of the main functions that I use Excel is the pivot table function. So with the pivot table, you can take a bunch of detail and you can summarize it at a high level. One way, so back to the journal entry detail. So we take journal entry detail for the full year, and so we take the detail and we insert a pivot table. The pivot table allows us to organize the data by name, so we can determine how many entries they prepared for the year. Also, we can summarize by type, so we can see how many entries occurred. So if we have cash transactions or if you have loan transactions, you can kind of see how many transactions there are. Then the VLOOKUP is another function we use to kind of pull data from one table over to another data. So one example would be the loan level detail doesn't include the general ledger account number, but there is a unique identifier such as the loan account number that's associated with the general ledger account. So what we'll do is we'll pull the loan account number from the general ledger detail table in order to see what the account number, the general ledger account number is. One key use of Excel is to document our audit program and audit results. So a lot of times we have to include in our white papers the objective of our testing. So the objective may be to ensure all transactions are accurate and complete. In order to do that, we kind of test a listing of transactions. So we have 20 transactions, we may test like a certain percentage of those, and then once we finish testing those transactions, we'll say, okay, there were no exceptions in our testing, or we'll document whether there were exceptions. So in Excel, we kind of have a list of columns. We'll have the unique identifier information about the accounts that we're testing or the transactions that we're testing, and then we list the results, like was it in accordance to the policy, was it accurate, and was it incomplete.
All right, thank you, Brittany, for your time, and thank you all for watching.